Welcome back everyone. Today we will be discussing the Jordan Clot collaboration, which included the Jordan 14 Clot Terracotta and the Jordan 35. Specifically, we will be discussing some release info, background information, how to cop, and of course, some resale predictions at the end of the video. The Jordan Clot collab is set to release on February 8th for Clot and February 11th for Nike. Retail will be $200. Regarding stock, these are limited to over 25,000 pairs, less than 30 for the 14s. Obviously, this isn't great because it's very limited, but it's at least slightly more stock than what we've seen on some super hype dunks recently. Unfortunately, I was not able to get the stock for the other pair, but I would imagine that it would be somewhat similar, if not probably more limited than the 14s, and I'll discuss why that is later. With the release info out of the way though, let's jump into some background information regarding these. When the first emperor of China passed away in 210 BC, he was buried with an army of over 8,000 sculpture figures to protect him in the afterlife. The massive force was carved out of reddish clay, and after being unearthed in 1974, became known as the Terracotta Army. Following 2018's Clot Jordan 13 Low Terracotta, the new Air Jordan 14 Low Terracotta features several elements inspired by its predecessor. The upper is once again clad with terracotta warrior armor plate, with subtle nod to Michael Jordan through its side panel where dots appear in 2 and 3s. The shoe's tongue is reminiscent of a traditional Chinese scroll with the word Clot and Jordan on it. On the sole are terracotta colored accents complemented with light tan and gray, and finishing off the shoe are bold laces and a traditional Chinese knot and a coin hanging off the heel. Classic symbol of a Chinese idiom for prosperity and happiness is added. This is an ode to Clot's Chinese heritage and token to bring luck to the game. And following the 14s, the Air Jordan 35 is one of Jordan brand's newest silhouettes, featuring the innovative Eclipse plate and Zoom Air technology embodying Jordan brand's core values of pushing performance and aesthetics. The shoe boasts eye-catching jade details and Eclipse plate with bold red detailing highlighting the feature. Set upon a luscious gray suede upper, details include hang tags bearing both the Jumpman and Clot logos, 3M detailing throughout, and gold lace eyelets as well. Finally, the shoe is housed in a special box bearing the predominant colors of gray and jade green. So hopefully now if you do end up deciding to keep a personal pair of these, you'll know what you're wearing. Now with the background and release info out of the way, to preface the how to cop, make sure you follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10 and personals for you for any urgent updates on these or any hype sneaker in general. Anyway, let's move on to how to cop these. First, on February 5th, you will be able to enter a worldwide juice raffle. This includes US. The specific one will take place on their site, juicestore.com, and I will tweet out when it does go live. Then winners should come out by the 8th. For Hong Kong citizens, you guys will actually be able to enter through the new app, which will be for iOS only according to them, that will launch on February 5th. Clot will be hosting special pop-ups and activations for the shoes at their different pickup locations, including Hong Kong. So that's definitely very interesting if you're over there, of course, but those of us in the US or Europe, obviously not so fantastic. This is obviously all very unfortunate news because we obviously want a first come first serve drop, at least those of us with some prior experience with juice drops. They usually make it a PayPal only drop, allowing for tons of manual success as well. We do still have hope though, and let me explain why. The reason I say this is because they have done a raffle on every single drop before this, along with an online drop too. The only difference is that the online drop usually doesn't get posted until closer to the drop. For this reason, I'd suggest following Juice on Instagram and waiting for that potential post. They usually drop at 11 p.m. Eastern time the day before the drop. This is the morning of the drop locally for them, but the nighttime for us in the United States at least. If they do not make any posts, definitely look out for a password page going up as well. Juice has always enabled the password page before the collaboration drops, so this will be a dead giveaway. I am a little skeptical this time. This may perhaps be the first time they don't do a first come first serve on their collaborations with Nike. They seem to be making a big deal about this app that they recently created and will be launching on the 5th, but I do want you guys to still be prepared because they have always done a first come first serve in the past and a raffle, so both before. So hopefully we do see an announcement soon, or at least least a password page going up for maybe a potential shock drop for these on their site. That would be fantastic to see, of course. So again, look out for that password page. But unfortunately, I am skeptical just because of how hard they are going with the marketing of this new app. In terms of preparation for this drop, I do not expect Juice Store to purchase a new domain for this drop, like many of the small boutique collabs we have been seeing recently, like Concepts and Bodega. I do not expect them to go this route. They never have before with all their collabs with Nike, and they have never really had too big of an issue with bots because they just enable PayPal on most of these collaborations, which is a pretty clever workaround to the mass botting from a botting perspective at least. Do you personally think that they will use a new domain? Feel free to watch my last video. I do suppose it is better to be safe than sorry, but if they even hypothetically drop, I personally feel that they won't end up using one. For that reason, I would suggest camping in your Shopify monitors before this drop. Again, this is even if they announce anything or if the password page goes up. If neither happens before 11 p.m. Eastern time the day before, then you can just disregard this section of the video after the raffle. If you don't have access to a Shopify monitor, then you can bookmark the search page for keyword Jordan. This way, as soon as you click it and the password page goes down, you'll already be right in front of both of the pairs. In preparation for this, make sure you are logged into PayPal because they do often make it PayPal only, as well as ensuring that you have already made a Juice account in advance, as they do usually require it for these very hype drops. I suggest you make the bookmark and account now since you won't be able to when the password page goes up. Then you should also expect a checkpoint. I'm not sure if they'll use a question, but if they do, it'll be pretty simple and straightforward anyway. Again, we really need to hope for them to post about a first come first serve drop closer to the drop like they always have in the past, or at least see a password page get enabled. Personally, I'm still skeptical right now just based on how they're emphasizing the app, so we may very well be in for disappointment unfortunately, but as I always do say, it's better to be safe than sorry, even if that ends up being the case. Anyway, moving on to the second release for these Nike sneakers. At 10 a.m. Eastern Time in the US and 9 a.m. CET in Europe, on February 11th, Nike sneakers will be dropping these. Sneakers will be a much better chance at copying compared to the raffle, but let's hope Juice does save some stock for a first come first serve drop. Now, what's the most efficient way to cop off of Nike sneakers manually? This release did load as a Leo drop. Leo drop stand for let everyone order, as I always go over in my videos. Leos essentially look very similar to a first come first serve, but they're actually just a 2 to 3 minute draw in disguise. It's not quite that simple either. I actually made a full in-depth video regarding this and everything inside out that you guys do need to know. Feel free to check it out here. If you guys do need to make more accounts, remember that Nike does require SMS verification and you can't use the same phone number twice, so you will have to ask a friend to use their phone number and ask them for the verification code. However, if you rather not bother your friends or you just want a significant amount of pre-verified Nike sneakers accounts in general, feel free to check out my site TARS. The link is in the description below for pre-verified Nike sneakers accounts. Finally, regarding resale predictions, starting with the Jordan 14, this pair evidently already has very notable demand. Furthermore, prior Clot collabs with Nike or Jordans have all performed very well, one of which having the same terracotta aesthetic to it. The stock is certainly quite low, unfortunately, so with that, these should definitely be profitable with a very good margin as well. Even with the high shipping on Juice, I'd still suggest going for these 100%. In terms of the 35s, the demand is not as high, but the stock can very well be much lower based off the information that's out right now. Just the fact that they're not dropping on sneakers alone could illustrate some potential for these to be very limited. Again, I wasn't able to confirm the stock for this pair in particular, but I do think that they can very well be more limited than the 14 from a marketing perspective at least. This could definitely outweigh the slightly lower demand, and perhaps we'll even see a higher resale price on these. Either way is possible, but bottom line is, with that said, even though there is less demand on the 35s, I'd still suggest going for them as well. Anyway, that'll conclude it for today. Feel free to leave a like if you did enjoy or you perhaps learned a thing or two. Also subscribe and enable post notifications just to stay 100% updated on all hyped releases. Also feel free to check out the links in the description below for reliable, fast residential proxies and pre-verified Nike sneakers accounts. Last but not least, make sure to follow KeithAdam10 and Personals for You so you guys stay updated on all urgent info like I was discussing today. With that though, I'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day and good luck on this release.
Can't you find somewhere else to get your foot on my foot?